Hello and welcome to Biology. This is the first video in a series of, I hope to be quite a few. This is going to talk about the characteristics of life. Biology, which means the study of life, bio meaning life, and ology meaning the study. We'll be talking about all kinds of critters. The book you can see located right here. This is a book that we'll be using this year on and off. Is a book by Prentice Hall on biology called we're going to call it the Dragonfly book because of, you can see the dragonfly there. We'll be talking about DNA, we'll be talking about reproduction, sexual and asexual. We'll be talking about DNA, we'll be talking about anatomy, we'll be talking about Gregor Mendel and genetics, we'll be talking about critters, both big and small, animal and plant cell. But basically biology, again, is the study of life. We'll be talking about critters. This one is actually magnified with an electron microscope, where we actually see a bacillus bacteria kind of thing and also a wormy nematode looking thing in some sort of vegetation, but highly magnified, all the way up into large bodies like humans, which we tend to think is of us as being one of the most highly advanced because of our large brain size. Sometimes with some of the things we do with the environment, I kind of question that. But we are going to talk about how the original life probably came from a single-cell organism. When the organism got so large, it actually had to start rethinking how it did things. Couldn't get the material into itself. Much easier getting material in to a smaller size cell than it is to a larger type cell. So we had to start thinking about organelles, throwing nuclei and mitochondria and other things in there. We'll talk about the phylogenetic tree, where we talk about bacteria all the way over to eukaryotic cells, and we'll talk about how life has actually blossomed to fill pretty much any niche that's out there. About 4.6 billion years ago, we think the Earth formed. About 1 billion years later we had an ocean, and very soon after that we had life, and then the life actually started in the ocean and progressed into land with semi-aquatic creatures, and then actually got into terrestrial type critters that you see out here. We'll talk about that later when we start talking about evolution, but life has blossomed, and we're going to be studying those things. Regardless of how it started, evolution says that life changes. We can start talking about the horse or the equus. We actually found out that the horse, with time, you can actually see time here, with time has changed from 65 billion years ago all the way up to where it is today. This one makes it actually look like it's a nice, steady tree or nice steady evolution, but there are breaks in here. There are species, many species that broke off that didn't make it. We have some of these that we can see in the fossil record, but there's a lot of others that we can't. Only one of them has actually made it into the most recent time. So we only have one horse. You can see how the hoof is developed. Same sort of thing, evolution, we'd have with the finch. We have a common finch from South America mainland that somehow got to the islands out in the Pacific Ocean, primarily the Galapagos, where the beagle, Charles Darwin, actually did his study with tortoise and some plants, but did the finches. And these finches actually landed on different islands, and because of pressures on the island due to temperature, moisture, food source, the traits that were more beneficial survived, and where traits were not less beneficial, they died out. So what happened is species changed with time. It can work backward and forward. This is actually moving forward, so we can see this actually happening. This one is a more backward change, because we actually can see this one today, where we can see all of these finches alive. We can only see this one today, this background horse, not this one, the background horse. And we actually can go back in the fossil record and see some of these. We can do the same thing with man. Now, I'm not going to ever say that man came from a monkey. I'm saying that all these guys came from something else. And just like a phylogenetic tree, it went this way and branched off this way. This one became extinct. Then went some more, and we had this one, and he became extinct. And then another one went this way, and it branched off to make this one, and then it branched off to make this one. I really like this one. This is probably evolution, the way it's going to work out, where especially the United States is getting more obese than probably is good for us. This is an actual phylogenetic tree, and if you take a look at this one, it's a beautiful phylogenetic tree. It actually has got so much definition it's really hard to show in a slide, but it actually talks about, if you can actually see where it centers, somewhere in here we have the most simple life, and we have branches going off in every which direction. Primarily what's survived is the things that are on the outside of this tree, and everything you see on the inside didn't. Although I can see maybe a whale right there, but we can follow that up to a dolphin. These guys probably became extinct. And the big thing to think about is the fossil record. The fossil record gives us a good idea of what's out there, but there's a lot of things in the fossil record that haven't shown up because they're not in the record. Here's another phylogenetic tree, the same one I showed you on that other slide. Here's another one just for man, and you can see there are lots of things that have branched out. You can see gorilla and some other things that actually are around today, and what we're actually saying is that there was something right here that branched out into different directions, and it's not saying this was a monkey or a man. It's just saying that monkeys came from it and man came from it. We don't know what that thing is. Okay, I'm going to pause this for a second. Okay, and then the last thing, life is found pretty much everywhere on the planet. Life is very able to adapt. Fossil record preserves a very small percentage of the things that are out there. The more we look around, like if we actually look inside this forested area, this is a rainforest. This is high speciation, lots of species, and we're discovering hundreds, if not thousands, of species every year. This is a coral reef. And coral reef is the same sort of thing. It's a very high species reef. This is another high speciation where we can find lots of species. These are the two highest biological biomass producers on the planet. We can also find them down mid-ocean ridges where we find these submarine vents where sulfur comes out, and we have bacteria that actually can eat the sulfur, and we have larger things that can eat the bacteria, and we have larger things that can eat that, and we have larger things that can eat that, and it's a whole different environment, all based on sulfur, not sunlight. We can find life in a desert. We can find life in an ocean, cold and warm. We can find it where we actually have high salt content. Volcanism, very high water temperatures. We can find them in the tallest mountain and the deepest valleys. So life is very diverse, and it's out there. We do have some bad things like pollution, man-made stresses that are actually causing problems for species. We have natural cycles which are causing problems for species. Species have a whole lot of pressure put on them, and it's survival of the fittest. And that's what we'll be talking about. This is the first example of flipping the classroom, where hopefully you guys are doing this at home, and hopefully we'll be able to do a lot more of these things. Bye-bye.